So Shabbat Shalom, a very warm welcome to the Finchley Progressive Synagogue and to our evening service. Which one would you like to do, David? The technocrat's always in charge. Anyone in particular? Well, why don't we start at number 1 and work our way through? There we are. So we'll start on page 69 with the lighting of the candles. I've also got no yahrzeit list. Thank you.
In the spirit of our ancient tradition which unites and sanctifies the house of Israel in all lands and ages, we welcome the Sabbath by kindling these lights. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher kedishanu b'mitzvah sov v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbos.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Psalm 95 on page 70. Lechu naranana l'Adonai, nariya l'tzor yishenu, nekat mafana b'toda, bizmirot nariya lo. Ki el gadol Adonai, umelech gadol al kol Elohim, asher biyado mechrei haaretz, v'to'afot harim lo. Asher lo hayam v'hu asahu, yabeshet yadav yatzaru, bo'u nishtachave v'nivracha, nivracha lifnei Adonai hoseinu. Ki hu Eloheinu v'anachnu amarito, v'tzon yado Hayom im bekolo tishma'u. Shalom Aleichem, page 76.
Shalom Aleichem, Malakei Hasharet, Malakei Elyon. Melech Malakei Hamavim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Boakim Leshalom, Malakei Hashalom, Malakei Elyon. Melech Malakei Hamavim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Baruni Leshalom, Malakei Hashalom, Malakei Elyon. Melech Malakei Hamavim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Tehem Shalom, Malakei Hashalom, Malakei Elyon. Melech Malakei Hamavim, Kadosh Baruch Hu.
And we read responsively from Psalm 97 on page 77. The Eternal One reigns, let the earth rejoice. Clouds and darkness surround you. Your lightnings illumine the world. Mountains melt like wax before you, O God. The heavens proclaim your righteousness. Zion hears and is glad. For you, O supreme over all the earth. Light dawns for the righteous. Let the righteous rejoice in you. Lecha Dodi, page 91.
Adoni likrat kala, בני שבת נקבלה, אחד עודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. שמעו וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ותהילה. לך דודי דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי אם מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם תשוכה, סוף מעשה תנחשה מילה. לך דודי דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך ובאורי, אורי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני. לך דודי דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה וצהלה, תוך אמוני ים סונה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. ברכו את אדוני המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. Let us be seated. If you wish to join with me in the Hebrew at the top of page 93. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach she'arim, u'bituna mashane itim, u'machalif et hazamanim, u'mesadeh et ha'kochavim b'mishmorotehem baraker kirtzono, b'rei yom v'layla, כולל אור מבני חושך וחושך מבני אור, ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבים. We praise you, God, whose word makes evening fall. אהבת עולם. אהבת עולם. ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת. Otanu limarta, Otanu limarta. Akin Adonai Eloheinu v'shofenu, Umeinu nasiach b'chokecha, v'nizmach b'divrei toratecha, u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Hayenu, orech yameinu, uvahem nege yomam v'layla, nege yomam v'layla. V'achal tasur, mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael, Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema, the Declaration of Faith, page 94. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. V'havta et Adonai Elohecha, B'chol levavecha, U'v'chol nafshecha, U'v'chol ma'odecha. V'hayu harvarim ha'ele, Asher anochi mitzavecha hayom, Al levavecha. V'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam, V'shiftecha b'veitecha, Uvlechtecha baderech, uveshochbecha uvekumecha. Ukshatam laot al yadecha, vahayu lo totafot bein inecha. Uchtavtam al musuzot beitecha, uvisharecha. Lamahan tizkaru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'yitem kadoshim le'elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liod lachem le'Elohim, ani Adonai Elohechem. Willingly we accepted your rule, then full of joy we sang together. Amar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov, kwalo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. We praise you, O God, Redeemer of Israel. Middle of page 96, Hashkivenu. Baruch atah Adonai haporesh sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol yoshvei tevel. Praise your God, may your sheltering peace descend on us and all who dwell on earth. The Amidah, page 97. Adonai sevatai tiftachu fi yagi tehilatecha. Eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol v'Zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומשה ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני יפו. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. You are holy, awesome is your name. We have no God but you. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. We praise you, Eternal One, the Holy God. Let us be seated. Middle of the page. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל, אות היא לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת שבת ויהי נפש, שבת שבת ויהי נפש, שבת שבת ויהי נפש. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. The middle of page 100. Let us read together. Eternal God, be gracious to your people Israel, and in your love accept their prayers. May our worship now and always be acceptable in your sight. Baruch atah Adonai she'otecha levadecha bi'ira na'avod. We praise you, O God, whom alone we worship in reverence. And we continue. We give thanks that you, Eternal One, are our God, as you were the God of our ancestors. You are the rock of our life, the power that shields us in every age. We thank and praise you for our lives, which are in your hand, for our souls, which are in your keeping, for the signs of your presence we encounter every day, and for your wondrous gifts at all times, morning, noon, and night. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha alecha na'eh lahadot. We praise you, O God, source of goodness, to whom our thanks are due. Let us read together in Hebrew. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amacha, Tasim La'olam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Tov be'enecha, levarech et Amacha Yisrael, et kol ha'amim, bechol eit uv'chol sha'a bishlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai, osei hashalom. We praise you, O God, the source of peace. Some moments of silence. There is a guided reading on pages 101 and 102. Yuratzon revi, Yuratzon revi, Vehegon libi lefonecha, Vehegon libi lefonecha, Adonai tsuri vegoali, Adonai tsuri vegoali. I'm not sure if you're aware how the Haftarot that we will read on Shabbat mornings were selected. Some of them, it appears, were connected to the Torah portion of the week. Some were selected because of a particular season. And I want to draw your attention to I think one of the great parts of Siddur Lev Chadash, which I did last week, which is the special themes. And bearing in mind that in the next few days, 160,000 members of the Conservative Party will receive a ballot paper, asking them to nominate a leader of not only their party, but of our country, I thought we should read the one that is appropriate for this week, leadership. It's on page 325. Page 325 when you found it. I won't make the obvious inevitable joke that Tisha B'Av is coming soon too. Suffice to say, we're just concentrating on the positive aspects and the requirements of leadership. The Torah says, Havu lachem, get for yourselves, anashim, chachamim, wise persons, unvonim, and people of viduim, and people of knowledge and understanding, l'shivtechem, from your tribes. Vasimem Barashechem, and literally it says, place them over your heads or make them your leaders. So Moses carried out the divine commandment as we read together. You shall seek out from all the people able individuals who revere God, love truth, and hate dishonest gain, and make them leaders of the people as officers over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. What are the qualities required of a leader? These verses tell us. Wisdom, understanding, reverence, integrity, justice. But there is one more. Leaders must respect those whom they lead. You stand this day, all of you, before the Eternal One, your God, the heads of your tribes, your elders and your officers, every person of Israel, your little ones, your partners and the strangers in your camp, from those who chop your wood to those who draw your water. God says, and leaders must care for those whom they lead. Once when Moses was keeping Jethro's flock in the wilderness, a little kid escaped from him. When it reached a shady place, a pool of water appeared before it, and it stopped to drink. When Moses caught up with it, he said, I did not know that you ran away because you were thirsty. You must be weary. So he put the kid on his shoulder and carried it back. Then God said, compassion to the flock of a human owner. You shall most surely lead my flock, the people of Israel. And leaders must set an example to those whom they lead. All depends on leadership. When the leader is good and upright, the flock follows. Moses said, Let the Eternal One, the God of the spirits of all flesh, appoint someone over the congregation to go out before them and come in before them, who shall lead them out and bring them in, so that the congregation of the Eternal One may not be like sheep without a shepherd. The test of true leadership is to walk ahead of the people, not to conform to the inclinations and attitudes of the multitude, but to lead them according to one's own spirit, raising them to a high level, not descending to theirs. Such a person leads them out of all kinds of confusions and disasters and brings them in to the realm of holiness. To be a leader is an onerous and sometimes a thankless task. God said to Moses and Aaron, "My children are obstinate, irascible, and troublesome. In assuming leadership over them, you must expect that they will curse you and stone you." Not all are equally cut out to be leaders. Would that all God's people were prophets. But when leadership is called for, none of us may excuse ourselves. One who withdraws from public life and says, "What have I to do with the burden of the community or with their disputes? Why should I listen to them?" Peace to your soul. Such a person destroys the world. We pray for all who exercise leadership in our community and spend themselves in the service of others, those who hold high office and those who volunteer for humbler tasks that are no less essential. May God grant them wisdom and understanding and a high consciousness of their responsibility, combined with humility and a sense of proportion and humour. May the work they do seem to them an honour rather than a burden, and give them joy and satisfaction. Through their leadership and service, may our community grow in strength and vigour, harmony and happiness, and make its contribution to the well-being of society. Lo alecha hamlecha ligmor, v'lo ata ven chorin lebatel mimena. You are not required to complete the work, but neither are you at liberty to abstain from it. Page 519 for the shortened Aleinu. When you found it, will you please stand? Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Baruch Adonai Elohim, Elohei Yisrael, Aseh Niflaot Levado, Uvaruch Shem Kavodo Le'olam, V'malei Kavodo et Kol Haaretz. Amen v'amen. The Eternal God shall rule over all the earth. On that day the Eternal One shall be one and known to be one. May your love, O God, rest upon us as we rest our hope in you. All the nations that you have made shall come and bow down before you and honour your name. Let God be praised by day. Let God be praised by night. Let God be praised when we lie down. Let God be praised when we rise up. Avinu Shabbat Shamayim Yached Shimcha V'kayem Melchutecha Tamid U'meloch Aleinu L'olam Va'ed. Adonai Melech, Adonai Malach, Adonai Yimloch L'olam Va'ed. We turn to the Kaddish on page 524. The Kaddish, the prayer that came to be associated, it's a very ancient prayer in Aramaic and Hebrew, came to be associated with death and funerals, but if you look carefully, it's not about death and funerals. It's what's known as a doxology, a prayer in praise of God, originally used when a piece of study came to an end, a particular tractate of the Mishnah, for example. But why is it in the place that it's in now and has the associations it has now? Perhaps it reminds us of the journey of life. The journey of life begins for all of us when we're born, and none of us remember it, and ends with our deaths, and as yet nobody has come back to report theirs. And in between is the remarkable journey that we call life. And life can be short or long, sometimes too long, sometimes too short. full of troubles or full of joy. More often than not, ups and downs are both of those. But Judaism says there's not a map for all of this life. There's certainly not a calendar of its length, or indeed a manual of its quality. But above all, the principle is that life has value. As I look at our yahrzeit list tonight, I see that we are remembering avot, fathers. Every one of them this evening is a father. And we're remembering first Richard Golding, the father of Paul. Mark Kravitz, the father of Richard. Chaim ben Shlomo Henry Newman, father of Melvin. Clive Winston, father of Penny Brailsford. And Gerald Romana, father of Joel Romana. And Sandra Romana, mother of Joel. So one mother, actually. Sorry, they're not all fathers. 5 fathers and 1 mother. And of course, we know that as children, as we grow up, our parents invariably go before us. Not always, of course, but that's what frequently happens. That we might call natural. But even so, the death of a parent and parents makes us half an orphan or a full orphan. And we are always conscious that those of us who are blessed with parents have much to be grateful for when they can provide good role models and exemplars. And so I know that Paul is with us. There may be others of you on the Zoom that I can't see, but I hope that your coming to the community this evening gives you a little bit of comfort in this moment, this yahrzeit, we call it a yahrzeit, this moment which recalls the death of a person, but more importantly, recalls their life. And it's with a sense of gratitude and a sense of hope that our lives have meaning too, that we prepare to recite the Kaddish together on page 524. We recite together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash me'raba ve'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael v'agala v'zman kari v'meru Yehei shemei rabba mavrach le'olam olalmei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ah v'yitwamam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev talal shemei d'kodeshah barechu Leila minko birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran b'alma v'moru. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'moru. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'asei shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol b'nei adam v'moru. May great peace descend from heaven, and abundant life be granted to us, to all Israel, to the people of Ukraine, and to all humanity. And let us say, Amen. Please be seated. I have only one announcement that although originally I was slated to do the service tomorrow, I have to go to York to do some work there for the community. But I'm delighted that I've persuaded Rabbi Gabriel Cantor-Weber, the newly ordained rabbi who's about to go off to Brighton, but still currently lives around here, to lead our service tomorrow morning. Dean will be providing the music, and that service begins at 11 o'clock. In thanking all of you for helping to make the Shabbat for each of us this evening, I particularly want to thank Paul and David, who've once again managed our tech, and helped us with the music, so thank you to both of you. To Sam and Ellie, did I get that right? To Sam and Ellie, who are welcomers, and to any of you who've done things that we all do behind the scenes to keep our community going. It's a wonderful community, and it's wonderful because of the partnership between our professional staff, including our rabbis, and we, who are the community. And we celebrate that every week. And so if you haven't been thanked for something, that's because I didn't know you'd done it. But know that we're grateful, even if I missed you out. I don't think I've missed anybody out, but if I did, always remember that it's never intentional when you're not appreciated and you actually are appreciated, because that's how we run. Paul is going to even provide the Kiddush for us, which is even better. So Paul, what have I got there? I've got... No, we're not doing a Donalam. You want to finish the final song? Okay. So let's do Yom Zel Yisrael. This place is so conservative. You know, if you suggest anything other than a Donalam, they get into a tizzy. Even the technical people do, because they haven't got it on their sheets. So what page is it? 640 something. Yidid Nefesh is a bit long. Yom Zel Yisrael, page 644. Are we ready? Page 644. Yom Zel Yisrael, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zel Yisrael, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha, Shabbat menucha. Tzvita pikudim b'ma'amat Sinai, Shabbat umod, lishmo b'chol shanai, la'arach lefanai, ma'aseh v'arucha, Shabbat menucha, Shabbat menucha. Chemdat levavot le'umma shavura, ninfashot nichava, neshama yetera, minefesh matzera, yatsi anacha. Shabbat menucha, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zel Yisrael, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zel Yisrael, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha, Shabbat menucha. Kidashta berachta oto mikol yamim, b'sheshet kilita melechet olamim, bo matzu agumim, hashketu vitcha, Shabbat menucha, Shabbat menucha. Last time. Yom Zel Yisrael, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zel Yisrael, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha, Shabbat menucha. Do you all have something to drink? Page, if you're following, it's page 564. ויחול השמיים בארץ וכל צבאם, ויחללים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, ויתבוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה, ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, Borei beriah gaven. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodesho b'yahava u'ratzon inkelanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'charta, v'yotanu gidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'yahava uvratzon inchaltanu, baruch ata Adonai, mekadesh ha-shabbat. Shabbat shalom, l'chaim. It's nice. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, we give thanks to God for bread. Our voices join in grateful chorus for real chola, as to you our prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
hygienic. If anybody is worried about COVID, they can take a piece themselves. I did wash my hands. I have had COVID twice. I work every week with COVID patients and haven't caught it more than twice. That might be enough, I'm not sure. But don't feel, if you're worried, then please come and take a piece from here.